Peace. What's going on, family? How y'all doing today?
Peace, power, man. It's good to see you, my brother.
Absolutely. Good to see y'all as
Can
well,
hear
man.
me
Glad.
well.
Yes, yes.
That's what's up.
Glad you all could make it today. Wish you were coming on for something more joyous, but we're gonna deal with the business and we'll have those days as well. For our listening audience, Dan Moore Jr. is a curator over at the Apex Museum here in Atlanta, which is a monumental uh, location when it comes to our culture and history and so on and so forth. Real good brother. Ran into him a couple of days ago at a press conference, and he was telling me some information on what was going on with his son, who is the husband of our sister Janitra on the side, who is his daughter-in-law. So what I wanted to do today is I wanted to open up our platform and talk about our brother Charlie Moore and the incident that went on here in the Georgia area in Paulding County. So Dan, maybe you can get us started and we'll take it from there on what's going on. Who
First
is
of
Charlie
all,
Moore? What happened?
first of all, I want to say thank you, brother Jenga, and thank you for Remix Morning Show. Power to y'all for what you do. Um, we're here to talk about a case that is involving a little child by the name of Leiden Boykins, who died at the hands of state troopers who did a pit maneuver on my son's car. My son Charlie Moore traveling late at night, coming from work with his son and little Lead, and his son is Zaire, my grandson. And as they traveled in Paulding County, if you're not familiar with Paulding County, I'll give you a name: Marjorie Taylor Greene. That's her area. Okay. So as he's traveling home from work, he took the boys with him to make a little extra money so they can buy stuff, on their own. Leading 12, Zaire's 14. Um, in the car, they noticed someone following them. And so he's moving, on, stop signs, stops in front of a house because he's trying to figure out who's following him. When he stops, then some lights come on. After that, officer comes out. He rolls his window down a little bit and he says, "Why did you stop me? Is there a problem?" And the officer says, "You were being evasive." So my son, like, "Dude, you were following me. I didn't know who you were," basically. And as things progressed, the officer, as some of them do, began to get very aggravated because a black man was trying to tell him the law. And so my son asked for a supervisor. Instead of calling for a supervisor, he called for backup. And when backup came, they decided to be super aggressive and start to bash the windows on my grandson's side. He was sitting in the passenger seat front. Okay. Leading was sitting in the back seat. So fearing for the life of those children and for his life, he pulled off because he said, "These guys are out of their mind." So as he pulls off, they call 911. He's telling them, "Get these guys off my back. Look, I asked for a supervisor. They're, hitting my car, they're breaking my windows. I need some help. I'm afraid for my life out here in the streets." And Brother Jenga, if the popo ride up on you, our adrenaline, all of our essence starts to get heightened because we know from the slave patrols, man, how they've hunted us like this. So that's his mentality. He's like, what are they doing? Why are these white men bashing this window with guns on their hip, bashing their window, acting very aggressive? So he pulls off. He's calling 911, telling them, "Look, I got children in the car. Tell them to back up. Let me just talk to a supervisor. Give me somebody out here. I'm afraid for my life." 911 operator tells the police dispatcher, "There are children in the car." Police dispatcher tells the troopers, "There's children in the car." And they did a pit ended the result of killing little Leiden Boykins. All right. Now, granted, this should have never happened. First of all, he should have never been stopped on some nothing. Then they violated his civil rights, and then they try to blame him for the death of Leland Boykins, saying,
I want you to go back, right? So for the viewers, you said they did a pit maneuver. Can you explain to the folks who don't know? Now we've talked about it on the show before, but you're telling us that you have a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old in the car, and they know this because they broke the window on the side of the 12-year-old, correct? Okay, and you have on the side of the 14-year-old.
Exactly.
So the 12-year-old's in the back. So they're quote unquote pursuing them after they got them on this dark area. What tell us what is a pit maneuver and what happened during that pit maneuver?
Well, a pit maneuver, which is illegal in most states, is where they actually take their car and they hit the back, just tap the back of your car and makes it spin in a degree. All right. In their laws, in their bylaws, in their standard operation procedures, it says, first of all, do not do a pit maneuver when you think there's going to be some bodily harm to some innocent victims. Children are innocent people, man. Then it says, do not do it between a rock and a hard place, basically. They pitted him between some island and a ditch, okay? So all of that was totally illegal, totally illegal. Janice, you got anything to say on that? My daughter-in-law was actually on the phone, Jenkins.
Yeah, I was on the phone the whole time. They actually hit the car a couple of times to try to flip it, knowing that the children were in there. And even on the call, my husband says, why are they hitting the car? And then that's when they hit it again and flipped it. So
that he was talking to he had you and the officers and the dispatcher on the phone?
So my son had called me on a FaceTime call so I could see and hear everything. And my husband had, I believe, Leland's phone, and Leland had passed him up the phone. And that's when he was talking to the 911 dispatcher.
So when this took place, Leland is the 12-year-old, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so Leland was ejected from the car.
Yeah.
Okay. So for clarity, Leland was killed during this particular situation. Okay, so they do the pit maneuver. What happens next?
Well, after they did the pit maneuver, the car flips over. All you hear is my son said, "You killed my son." He's speaking of Leland, because Leland is like a bonus child to all of us. His mother and his father, they entrusted us. They entrusted my son, like we call him Scooter, Charlie, and Janisha, with care for the child. And they do that. They've done that. That's why he was like, not only for his life of his son, but the life of his son in the back too. I'm getting away from these guys. Let me call 911. At least call 911 to see if someone can help me. And I did send you the 911 call. Now lately,
I'm going to play it. I'm going to play it shortly. Yes.
Cool. But lately, I've been seeing and hearing some edited versions out there. Even the police, the PIO, comes out there with his shifty-eyed ass talking about, well, it was dark out there. We couldn't tell whether or not it was who they were gender, what their race and ethnicity was. We couldn't tell how old they were. In their statement, they tried to say that they thought they were all grown people in the car. Ain't no way that a trained officer gonna walk in the dark with his light flashing, looking all over the seat, and couldn't see a little tiny boy sitting in the back seat.
And they were all around the car. When I saw them on the video, I saw officers all around the car.
They have.
You guys.
They need children, but they won't release the evidence. They won't because they won't release their evidence, and they won't release anything because they know they don't have anything on my son. They're trying to do a cover up now.
So and that's the part where I think you had froze when you mentioned that part. So your son is now being held. He's in the county jail. Tell us what is your son being charged with?
So he's being charged with murder,
felony murder.
I think he might have had 2 counts of that.
He had 2 counts.
They're trying to say that he assaulted an officer.
Yes, I mean, and then they have all kinds of. They had 32 charges they threw out there. 32 charges.
So for let's play crackers advocate, right? Here it is. You two are telling us that this man, your son, your husband, your children, they're driving from a job, right? No crime is committed. They're being followed.
None.
They're being followed by an
Yes.
officer who doesn't identify himself. Lights are not on or anything. So they decide to
Yes.
stop because of the fact that you're in this dark ass area in Paulding County. And for folks that don't know, Paulding County is a very racist county. You're in this area. And I mean, the fact that he stopped at all, that's amazing, because I probably wouldn't have stopped because I know how they get down. But he stops the car, no crime is committed. They begin to bash the window on the passenger side, the children's side. He takes off, fearing his life. They perform a pit maneuver after he's already calling, and we're going to hear from the dispatcher tape in a second. But he's talking trying to plead with the dispatcher that he needs a supervisor. They're telling him what you all are here on the tape. They're telling him that in order for him to talk to a supervisor, he needs to pull the car over. So you need to pull the car over with the people that are attacking you and your children in order for them to send a supervisor when he already had requested a supervisor prior to that.
Exactly.
That's the part that folks need to know as well, right? So now he's being charged with multiple counts of felony murder, etc. All of this from a day on the job with his children that he's taking to try to get them some extra money or whatever. And one ends up dead, he ends up locked up, and we're here today, right? This is what you're saying to us.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
So the average person to be like, how does that happen in America? I have the 911 tape. I'm going to make an effort to play it now because I want folks to really take a listen as to what went on, because I think it's important, because oftentimes it's easy to talk about something, but it's more difficult when to hear it on your own. So I want to play this this tape. This is leading, correct?
Yes, it is. No leading. Yes.
Okay, so leading is a 12-year-old child. Okay, here we go.
Yes.
Okay. The officers are telling me to tell you to pull over, and they're going to hit you if they don't. Okay, I'll put in there you want a supervisor, but in order to talk to the supervisor, you're going to have to pull over, okay? In order to speak to a supervisor, you're going to have to pull over. I'll notate that you want to speak to a supervisor.
Give me the phone. I need you to help me now because I didn't do anything wrong. I got 3 officers facing me right now. I asked for a supervisor. They would not give me one. I asked, what did I do wrong? They couldn't tell me. They don't have the cameras on. They don't have anything on. It's just 3 white guys, and they are chasing me around my neighborhood.
Okay.
I asked them, what did
Sir, in order to speak to a supervisor, you're going to have to pull over. I've notated that you want to speak to a supervisor.
Please. No, but that was too late though. Because now we got a situation where we're in a hostage safe now because they won't stop.
So they've told me to tell you that if you don't pull over, they're going to hit you.
They're going to hit me anyway. They already did that when I asked for help.
If you want to speak to their supervisors, you're going to have to pull over so you can speak to their supervisors, okay?
I asked for a supervisor. They wouldn't give me one. That's what I'm saying to you. I need help.
We already have a supervisor en route to that area, okay, sir? They've already been notated. They've already been notified, okay?
Okay, well, please.
Okay, so this is I don't know if folks could actually hear Was it loud enough for you all?
Yes, we was able to hear.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, this is like, I mean, this is it's beyond disturbing because of the fact that you're listening to this dispatcher. Your son is pleading, saying, "Listen, this is going on right now. You want me to pull over, and this is already happening." And they're telling, I mean, there should be, but he's in jail. That's the shit that's crazy. That's the thing that's like really
Yes.
just, I mean, it's insane. So this case took place when? This was September?
September, yes.
Okay. So
He had actually asked for a supervisor before he was on the call with her. He asked the officer for a supervisor while they were at the scene. But instead of the officer getting a supervisor, he just called for backup. And that's how the other officers were there.
that's insane. So they just said, so basically, the dispatcher, dispatcher's in on it as well because of the fact that you're not even sending the supervisor. You're talking about what they're saying, but I mean, I'm sure the dispatcher only has so much power, but you actually sent one of his homies, one of his cronies, instead of sending the supervisor. So has there been any complaints filed? I mean, like, how are you all handling this?
Well, first of all, Miss Franklin, Tony Franklin, and leading mother and father and the whole team has been trying to get some information we have been trying to get information from the police as to why they are holding my son, but they're trying to figure out why this even happened, why they did a pit maneuver, what's going on with that officer. Nobody's saying anything in that office, in the DA's office. Nobody's saying anything at GSP. Nobody's giving us any kind of anything. All right. And so what we want is some transparency. We want the truth to be told, because when the narrative went out there, Brother Jangan, it went out there against my son and as if he was the one that caused this thing to happen. Now, granted, I'm going to tell you this. They're going to come out there from their standpoint, or he should have never pulled off. Well, let me say this. If I'm on the backside of a street, I don't care if you're a cop or whoever you are. If you're bashing on my window, especially on my child's window, I'm trying to book up out of there. All right. But he had enough sense, enough wherewithal, because my son's a solid human being, man. He calls 911, who's still considered to me the enemy. But he calls them and says, look, get your people off me. Now, the 911 operator was pretty decent because she told the police dispatcher, the children in the car, be careful. The police dispatcher told us told them their children in the car, be careful. Before all that even happened, when they stopped, they had flashlights. You know, man, they stop you on the street. They're not gonna like roll up on you and then, hey, how you doing? They want to make sure they'll look all in the car, see who's
Without a doubt.
And they know there were children in the car. So why are you then doing a pit maneuver? And why are you aggressively bashing windows from the beginning on a child's side? So we want answers. We want freedom for Charlie and justice for leading. And that whoever those cops are, they need to be taking his place in the jail. He needs to be out. They need to be in.
Absolutely. Well, we're gonna stay close to this story and hopefully help you all with some ground organizing as well. Our organization, reach out to a few other organizations and work to assist in this, because this is insanity at its finest. And this is, I mean, it's I don't even know if unacceptable is a word, because I'm clear about where we are and who we're dealing with, but it is outrageous, for lack of better words. Is there a phone number that folks could call to the jail, to the police department demanding answers, or to the DA? Do you have a list of numbers?
Well,
if not, yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
We're preparing a petition. We do have a couple of hashtags out there that people can follow. One of them is hashtag justice, JUSTICE 4 FOR, leading LEDEN, Boykins, BOYNKINS, KINS. And we also have hashtag freedom. You spell freedom for FOR Charlie Moore. Charlie spelled CHARLIEMOORE. And I'll be glad to send more information to Black Power Media because we need y'all. We need y'all. We need y'all out there.
Right on. Well, we have our folks in the chat right now. Our chat's a nice solid chat, and we're going to make sure that that we commit not only Black Power Media but our remixer chat as well to assisting and to get the word out further. We our condolences on the loss and the continued trauma. I can only imagine you, Janitra, just being on the phone and not being able to do a damn thing about it with your son. I mean, that's just, I mean, I wouldn't even want to imagine it. And your son did the right thing by pulling off. The only other thing that he could have did was something that would have probably still landed him in jail. And I'll leave it at that for now. But we appreciate you all coming on. We definitely you had something else you wanted to add, Dan? Just
one more thing. They said that the victim was the officer that allegedly got his toe run over. That's the victim. You feel me? I'm just saying. That's their narrative.
Listen,
we've seen this for 400 years, man. Slave patrols hunting us. That's all this is.
It's all it is. That's all it is, man. Definitely. So we're going to definitely be in touch, man. Appreciate y'all love and support. And definitely, we will make sure that we're on the right side of the barricades.
Awesome.
Right? Justice for leading and freedom for Charlie. Right on. You're checking out the Remix Morning Show. We just had Janitra and Dan Moore Jr. talking about a very serious case. And we're going to keep you all updated and make sure that we, help to support this family and get justice. All right. Remix Morning Show. Let's go.
See.
That was horrific. As just
yeah. I mean, what do you say? You know what I'm saying? What do you say? It's like, what was the mistake that was made by this brother? You know what I mean? He did all the things that we tell folks to do. Well, pull over, try to find a well-lit space, call the police and tell them, would have asked for a supervisor. What else could he have done? He had his wife on the phone, his child, and I'm grateful that, not grateful, but it's the fact that there wasn't more casualties. You know what I'm saying? This child is ejected because you racist fucking pigs. You racist fucking pigs. You don't care about our lives, but you motherfuckers want us to be concerned with some Ukrainians who also don't care about us. This is a damn shame, man. This is like,
I appreciate you doing that interview. Sorry, go ahead, Kim.
I was going to say, all I hear is one of the takeaways from Joe Biden's State of the Union speech last night about how police do not need to be defunded, that there needs to be increased funding for the police, and we need to hold the police accountable. But there is no police accountability. It is an impossible system. This is why reformation of the police is impossible. Abolition is the only way, because they will get more money for more quote unquote training to treat Black people exactly like this, to disregard our lives and to make no concern even for the lives of our children. Fuck the police.
All day.